Hello, everybody. Yes, you are welcome to our Facebook Live teaching series. Yes. All right. So it's so good to be back. All right. I want us to look at this topic. As a teacher, I know, and even as parents, you also know that children go through a lot of academic challenges. Children faces challenges, and we need to know how stakeholders can help the teachers, the parents, and the school. So, but our focus today is on what you as a parent can do to help, to handle whatever the challenge is that your child is facing. So, as a way of introduction, my name is Fortune Wani, and I am the lead coach at Nurture Nest Academy. Nurture Nest Academy is a parenting coaching outfit where we hold parents accountable to raising happy and responsible children. Happy and responsible children will not jump on us. We have to be intentional about it. So, that is what we do. So every month we'll run free online we run free online classes to help parents on different issues. So for today, like we said, we'll be looking at how to handle academic challenges that your child faces or encounters. So one of the things, or one of the mindset I need us to have is that your child will face one challenge or the other academically, whether you pray or whether you do not pray. It's a phase of life that most children go through. So before we dive deeper into the class, we want to first of all identify some challenges that children go through. So, one of the things you need to do, number one, is to recognize the challenge. You want to do what? Recognize the challenge. So, this challenge could vary. All children do not go through the same challenges. Yes, they don't face the same challenges. So, challenge could range from declining grades. Maybe your child grade, instead of going up, it's going down. It's a challenge. Challenge could be, reluctance to go to school. When your child is being reluctant to go to school, then you must know that there is a challenge. So you want to recognize, what is the challenge? Is it that the child finds it difficult to write? Is it that the child, when he writes, you cannot read what the child is writing? Or when you take the child to school and it is time to go to the class, the child is dragging the body back. He doesn't want to go to school, or he or she doesn't want to enter that particular class. What is the problem? You want to recognize it. You want to observe and find out what the challenge is exactly. So it is not just to say, oh, the child is not learning, oh, the school is not doing this, the school is not doing that. You want to observe, okay, what seems to be the problem that my child is facing? You want to recognize it. You want to observe it. You can only recognize the problem when you take your time to observe the problem. So observation is key in handling the challenge that your child is encountering in school. So what is the second thing you need to do after you have observed? and identify the challenge. You want to talk with your child about it. So, for example, you want to say, I noticed that anytime we get to the school, you don't like entering your class. Why don't you like, or why don't you want to go into your class? Or I've noticed that when you want to read, you that wrote the thing, you cannot even read it. What seems to be the problem? So you want to discuss the issue with your child, especially if the child can talk. Or you have observed that your child finds it difficult entering the class. So, and maybe the child cannot talk. So you want to find out and do an investigation. What seems to be the problem? You observe the child and probably talk with the teacher. So, when number one, you recognize the problem, and as you recognize the problem, for you to be able to recognize the problem, you need to observe. And after you have observed, you need to talk with your child about the experience and about the feelings that they are exhibiting. Yes, that's the first thing you need to do. So, number two, in handling the challenge your child face academically, you want to assess the root cause of the problem. You have identified now that your child finds it difficult or feel reluctant to go to his class, or feel reluctant to leave the house from school. You want to assess what is the problem. Is it that it is because of the teacher? Is it the child is finding a particular subject difficult? What seems to be the problem? Is it that the type of assignment that is being given to the child finds it difficult to do his or her own homework himself or herself? You want to assess the root cause of the challenge that your child is facing. Or is it that your child is being bullied at school or in the class? You want to assess the root cause of the problem that you have observed and that you have identified. And you want to ascertain this problem. Is it health related? Probably the child is having a problem with his health, and that is why cannot learn. Maybe the child is sick. Of course, a child that is sick cannot learn. So is it because the child is sick, always sick? And if the child is sick, what is the root cause of the sickness? You want to ascertain that. Okay, the child is muddling up the things it's writing. Is it that the child cannot see the board? Or is it that the teacher's writing is poor? Yes. Some teachers can have poor handwriting. Yes. I know that for a fact. Or is it that the child has problems with the sight, cannot see far, or is too far away from the board? We want to ascertain the problem, the root cause. Is it a social related problem? The child finds it difficult interacting, relating with other members of the class, other members of the school. What seems to be the problem? You want to ascertain that. Finding the root cause of the problem. Now, you have observed, you have ascertained that, okay, it is a teacher, okay, it is a child's health, okay, it is the the social environment where the school is, where the class is. The child cannot learn. Probably the environment is noisy. Probably the classroom is not comfortable for the child. You have ascertained all this. So the next step is, what do you do? What do you do as a parent? Just like I tell, teachers, when I have the opportunity to speak with teachers, I tell the teachers, leave the home front and let's concentrate on what we can do as a school or as teachers. So, in the same vein, I'm telling you, the parent, leave the school and see what you as a parent can do. Because there is a saying that charity begins at home, right? Charity begins at home. Learning starts at home. So let's leave the home and let's focus on what you as a parent can do. The school and the home works in partnership to produce a wholesome child. All right. So let's quickly look at what you can do. The first thing you can do is you can help to create a supportive and conducive environment for your child at home. And how can you do that? How can you create a supportive and a conducive environment at home? Number one, establish a reading routine, a reading and a learning routine at home. Now, in my home, I have what we call our home learning. Yes, we have our home learning. So you might want to do something like that if you don't have it already, or if you have not been consistent with it. Some days ago, I wrote a letter to parents and we're talking about consistency. So you want to create a conducive reading and learning environment at home. How can you do that? Establish a routine. When is your reading time? When is it time for the children to do their homework? So this is one of the routine you want to create. Something you do regularly, something you do consistently, you get used to it. Not you do it today, you don't do it in the next 1 week. No. Let the reading time, let the home learning time be established in your home. So this is one of the way you can create a supportive and a conducive environment at home. Another thing you can do is get a reading space. Excuse me. Get a reading space at home. It could be on the dining, it could be at one corner of the room, or you may have, if you have opportunity to have a what is it called, a library in your home, and you can even create a mini library, so that when it is time for homework, when it is time for home learning, what happens? Everybody goes to that place to read, to learn. All right. So that is what you can do. And that place should be free from distraction. It should be free from distraction. So we have talked about two things you can do. Number one, create a supportive and a conducive environment. Number two, get a reading space. And number three, develop a plan. Develop a plan. That is one way you can handle the academic challenge that your child faces. Now, how do you go about developing a plan? Number one, set goals. Set goals. What is the age of your child? What is the class of your child? And what do you want your child, or what do you think your child should achieve at that stage of the, at that stage where your child is? So for you to be able to set the goals, you can also collaborate with your child's class teacher. So remember, in our previous things your child said I should tell you, one of the things we constantly talked about is work with your child's teacher. Work with your child's teacher, so you can find out, okay, what is my child expected to know or do at this age? So when the teacher tells you, you now build you now set the goals that the child should achieve at that point in time. Now, after setting the goal, the next thing will be to break that goal into smaller bits and put a time frame to it. Okay, between this time and this time, this child should be able to do this, should be able to do that. So that will now inform, the things you need to do to help your child. So you can say, okay, my child is in primary one or nursery three. So at this time, your child should be able to start reading simple sentences. So for you to do so, my child should be able to read simple sentences is the goal. My child should be able to write and identify 1 to 10. That is the goal. So, how do you achieve the goal now? Break it into small pieces. All right. So, for every day, we will read 10 minutes. Simple sentences. For every day or for every other day, depend on your schedule, we will identify objects, we will identify numbers. So you have broken it down into smaller bits and pieces. Then, after breaking it down, what do? You set timelines. You set timelines. Okay. Between now and midterm break, my child should be able to achieve a reading and answering question from the comprehension passage. My child should be able to master mental math on simple addition. So you give timelines. When we talk about timelines, we're talking about the duration where you want your child to achieve that goal. So setting the goal is the first step. All right. So another thing you can do is you can encourage, number 4, encourage effective study habits. Now, for children who are, up to like 7, 8, 9 years, this set of children have already known or learned how to read. So if the child is not doing well academically, then it means that the child is not studying. So you can help your child improve their study habits. Now, how do you do that? Yes, don't worry, I'm here to help you. That's why we're here. How do you do that? Number 1, you can do that by encouraging active learning. And when we talk about active learning, we're looking at areas as like teaching the child to learn to summarize. When your child is given a passage to read, you want to tell the child, you want to help the child learn how to summarize. You can say, you start by giving short passages, comprehension passages. So you give the child the passage to read and you guide the child into trying to summarize the passage. So you can tell the child, after going through making your child to tell you what the passage is about orally, then you now tell the child, okay, write it. However, whether there are spelling errors, whether they are muddled up, it's okay. Let the child start from somewhere, then you make the correction. You make the correction. So let the child summarize a short passage in, you can give maybe in five sentences or in one paragraph. So it depends. So you can also help the child do self-paced quizzes. That is question and answers. So after giving the child the passage to read or a topic to read, you can, if there are questions there, or you can set out questions, let the child read and answer himself. So that is self-paced quizzes. Then another thing you can do is make your child teach the younger ones or teach others. You know that when you teach, when you know something and you teach others, what happens? You learn it even better. You learn it even better. So make your child teach others. By so doing, you are helping the child to solidify that which they have learned. That which they have learned. So these are some of the things you can do. Then after the child has summarized, the child has done the self-paced quizzes, the child has taught others, then you can now sit down and make corrections where it's required, wherever it is required. So we want to take it slowly. We don't want to rush it. So we've been able to, as a way of summarizing what we did, we've been able to look at how you can handle the challenges that your child, academic challenges that your child encounters. We've been able to look at that the various challenges that children face in school, and we've been able to look at what you can do by assessing, recognizing the challenge, discussing it with your child, and other things you can do. So here you go. Now you have it. How you can help your child. So I believe that you have now been equipped with ways you can help your child handle academic challenge that your child goes through or your child encounters. Remember, you have your part to play. The school have their part to play. And when everybody, all stakeholders play their part, your child becomes an excellent student. So until I come your way next time, I remain your host, Fortune Wani, the lead coach at Nurture Nest Academy. Watch the space for more on ways we can parent effectively with our children. If you have any questions, please, you can drop it in the comment section and I will answer it. Thank you all for joining, for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.